Hello everyone. Alright, today we have a cooking class. It's a good one, but I hope it goes well. But what we're going to be making today is deviled eggs, which I love. They're great for any party, any celebration, things like that, and they're pretty easy to do. At least so I've read. We'll find out today, and I'll let you know how it goes. But first things we want to do is get our eggs ready. So last night I already peeled 5 of the eggs. I'm going to do 6 eggs and then halve them. It calls for 12 eggs, so I have to half the recipe. So everything I need to do a half of instead of the full thing. And some of it I'm kind of going off, so I've got my mise en place, everything in its place, ready to go. I've got my Greek yogurt, which it calls for. I've got a lemon that's ready to be juiced. I usually don't like Dijon mustard, but in deviled eggs I do really like Dijon mustard. I've got paprika for the end, just a sprinkle. I've got some garlic powder. I wanted to add some heat, so I got some sriracha. And let me make sure this is actually... Yes, good, it's open. So I've got some sriracha and Worcestershire sauce, which is always fun to say, Worcestershire. But it's really good. It adds this nice saltiness. And then over here I have some salt and pepper, which I'll grab. And that's just to add in and then kind of taste as I go. Alright, first things first though, I want to make sure one thing. When you boil an egg, I've already done a class on boiling an egg, so if you need to know the times and how to do it, just refer to that class. You can go back to my YouTube page on how to boil an egg. And then this way, I have like a little device that I use to boil eggs. So all of these I cooked at the same time. So I saved one though for us to use as an example. Now what you want to do is one way that you want to check to make sure that it's actually a hard-boiled egg, because you want hard-boiled eggs for deviled eggs. You take the egg, and to make sure that it's hard-boiled, if you spin it and it starts to kind of go woo woo, that means it's not hard-boiled. That means it's still raw, and you don't want that. So you take the egg, and this is how I learned the trick. You spin it, and if it spins like that, when it just keeps going round and around, that means you got yourself a hard-boiled egg. So we're going to take apart the shell. You don't want shell. So this is all I do is I just kind of drop it, crack it a little bit, and then what we're going to do is just put everything in the garbage can. And you don't want any of the shell to be left on here. So, make sure that you do a good job, because shell is not a good thing to ingest. It's actually very bad for you. It could hurt your intestines, things like that. So that's the danger of that. So you just want to crack it a little bit, and then just peel around, and that's all I'm doing. It's just peeling around and getting everything off. If a little bit of the white comes off, that's fine. It's better than having shell on it. You want to keep as much of the albumin, which is what they call egg white, as possible. Yeah, maybe I should have peeled them all last night. This one's not peeling as well as the other ones, unfortunately. But I'm not going to trip about it. Cooking is cookie. And there we go. We have ourselves 6 eggs. Now these ones look a lot better than this one that looks like it kind of got mangled. Maybe it got in like a little car accident or something like that. I don't know. Now what we're going to do is half them. So you just want to cut them straight through like this in half. So be careful, make sure you have a sharp knife. Cut through, there you go. See that nice yolk? Cut through. Again, nice yolk. Cut through. Ooh, that's the best one here. And you know, it's best to buy like quality eggs. You get a better, like, kind of cage-free, or eggs that come from a range instead of the ones that are packed into a plant. Sorry. Somebody's got to eat it. And I'm the only one here. But you'll get a better yolks that way, for sure. So I'm done with my knife. I'm not going to need this anymore for anything. I'll set that in the sink and I'll clean that right after I'm done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our spoon and we're going to just take out the centers. Now, if you don't get all of it, that's fine, because you don't want to break the egg. Like, you don't want to puncture it so much that it actually cuts all the way through. When that happens, you don't have as good a deviled egg. So we just go through and we scoop everything out. Alright. Doing well here. Most of them are coming out quite easily, and most of the time it is pretty easy. Like I said, this is not like a really difficult recipe, but it's a really good one. Seriously, if you make a good one and you take it to a party, people will ask you to do it over and over and over again. So if you don't like cooking, don't make this, because people will love it and ask you to do it again. But if you do like cooking and you like it when people enjoy your food, then this is the recipe for you. So these ones that are closer to the edge, I'm going to go closer to the middle to scoop them out. And that way I'm not breaking into anything. So there we go. Now, I like these ones better, the ones that are like centered perfectly, because they're easier to scoop. Actually, this one's not that easy, but what are you going to do? Every egg's different. So, scoop, scoop. Oop, that one came out perfectly. I like when that happens. Perfection. Stealing a line from Kevin James. Alright. And there we go. We have our eggies. Our egg yolks. It's not a yolk, it's just funny. That's a bad yolk. Now what I'm going to do is line my my pan here, it's not a pan, with the eggs, so that when I'm done, I'll just fill it and put it in here. And what I'm going to do is, this is more of a snack, so you either eat it before something or after something. Like, a lot of times for sporting events, you know, you have snacks before. But sometimes you want some snacks after. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we need to take this, all the yolks, and smash them up, and I just use a fork. Just want to crumble it. But each one you want to break it down pretty well. And then we're going to, after this, we'll start to add our ingredients. Our good stuff. Again, I'm going to have to do some basic math here, just to make sure I get the dimensions right. Because again, this called for 12 eggs and I used half that, so I just have to half everything. But I want to make sure that this is all broken down pretty well into a nice crumble. Now what I wish I had, which I don't have, And you can make one pretty easy. It's a piping bag. You can make it out of, say, a Ziploc bag or something like that. I would rather use one that I could reuse over and over, so I'm not wasting plastic. So, and since I don't have one, I'm just going to keep the spoon that I have here already. And I'm going to just scoop it back in once I've got everything added. So there we go, crumble, crumble, crumble. Still a few chunks left that we want to make sure that we break down. Alright. That's looking pretty good. I don't need to overdo this. Again, if you're making for a lot of people, I would do it in batches. Maybe batches of 12. And then just, do it over and over again. And make sure that you have enough stuff. Okay. So let me show you what that looks like. Then I'll take care of that right as the class finishes. So you just want a nice crumble. And this is nice and crumbly. That's what we're looking for. It's a nice crumble. Alright, now we get to start adding our ingredients. So let me wash my hands real fast. It's important. It keeps things from slipping around so much when you have everything broken down. Okay, so we have our crumble. Now I need to turn my phone on and try to remember exactly how much of everything I need to put in. Now, like I said, some of this is just extra. So we're going to start with the Greek yogurt. You can also use mayonnaise. Some people really like the taste of mayonnaise. I'm not a huge fan, so I'm going to go with, I do use mayonnaise, don't get me wrong. But this time I'm going to go with the Greek yogurt because I think it's going to give it a nice tang. And that'll balance out some of the heat and things like that. Of course, my phone doesn't work now because I just washed my hands. There we go. Okay, so it says 1/3 cup of plain Greek yogurt or mayonnaise. So what a third is, and I had to look it up, which, yay internet, it'll tell you what you need. It's 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons. So that's what we're going to do. So 1. And you can just kind of eyeball it. So there's 1. And I'm going to want to wash these because I'm going to need them later. There's 2. Okay. And then 2 teaspoons. 1. Scoop that out. And there's 2. Now I'm being kind of liberal with this, which just means I'm putting a lot more in than is exactly necessary, but I like a creamy, I like cream. So I want to wash these out real fast. And then dry them off because we clean as we go, but at the same time I'm going to need these for other measurements. And so I don't want to get, if you leave the, say I left the Greek yogurt in there, then what'll happen is that, oh, this came off, that's cool. What'll happen is that it'll just get stuck in there. And it's very difficult to remove. And we don't want that. So we clean them off and we dry them. But clean them with soap and water. It doesn't necessarily have to be hot water or warm water. Whatever works for you. Alright, so they're cleaned out. So we're good to go. We've got step 1 down. So that's in there. set these to the side. I'm going to take my Greek yogurt and put it back in the fridge. Again, just kind of clean as you go. It just makes life easier. That was easy. Instead of just leaving it out and then it could spoil, and then I would be sad. Okay. Now it says 1 tablespoon freshly squeezed lemon juice, or vinegar. Well, it is lemon season, my friend. So we are going to squeeze this one. And again, you'll really taste the difference. When it's fresh squeezed. There we go. And what I like about this is that as I'm squeezing it, the seeds all fall there. They don't actually get into the lemon juice itself. Alright, so that's done. And it said how much? 1 tablespoon, so I'll find a tablespoon, and since I have to half it, I'm just going to pour in about half. Again, I'm a little more liberal. But lemon can overpower it. So there we go, that's about half. Boom, put that in there. I'm going to rinse this out. Don't need to wash it completely, but I definitely want to rinse it out. Alright. So we've got those done. So we've got our yogurt, our lemon juice. This is 2 teaspoons, so 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. So I look through and I find my teaspoon. It's right there. And instead of squeezing it in there, since this thing is practically full, like I said, I don't really like it on sandwiches, but for this I definitely like it. But I want to make sure I get the right amount. Get all of that in there. That actually did really well. I'm going to rinse this out. So again, it's just easier if you just kind of go with it. Clean as you go. And then what I'll do is put my, since I'm finished with it, my Dijon mustard back in the fridge. Once I get the lid on firmly, apparently I didn't do that. Okay, and then it says half of a teaspoon of garlic powder. So luckily what we have here is right there. We have exactly half a teaspoon. So half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Which garlic powder, it adds a nice, unfortunate, so I'm going to take that off. And then what I usually do is I just take it out and kind of rub it. There you go. Perfect. And then I'll show you a little trick to get these back on. So once you pop that off, just set it on there kind of loosely. Put the lid on. And as you're putting the lid on and tying it down, it will pop back into place, just like that. Put my garlic powder back where it came from. There we go. Next, we're going to do sea salt and fresh cracked pepper. So I've got my pepper. I'm not going to do a ton because I'm still going to add the paprika, the Worcestershire, and the Sriracha. Worcestershire is salty. Sriracha, spicy. So pepper, spicy, salty is obviously salty. And then paprika is right at the very end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a squeeze of this just to add a little punch of flavor. Now what I should do is shake it up. Make sure the lid's tight on there. I've made the mistake before and it goes everywhere. Doesn't sound exactly like that, but you know, that's the noise I attribute to it. Okay, I don't want too much of it. Then we're going to take our Worcestershire. We're going to shake that up. We'll put that in there. Just a little bit more to counterbalance the Sriracha. Take these, put them back in the fridge. Always clean as you go. Now I have hardly anything to do after. Now what I want to do is mix this all together. So I'm going to use the spoon first. Just mix in all that yummy flavor. That smells wonderful. Now usually what a chef does is they taste it. So I take my pinky. That's pretty good. Actually might add some more lemon juice to brighten it up. And actually, I think I might add a little more Sriracha and Worcestershire. Let me taste it again though. Yeah, it's not spicy enough. I'm not sure. It's got a kick of little something. There we go. I'm going to add some more Sriracha and more Worcestershire. But again, kind of taste as you go. If your palate isn't as developed, or you have a tough time tasting things, ask somebody else to come try it. I do that usually with Melanie. I'll ask her, I'll say, hey, how does this taste to you? You know, and she'll be very honest with you. And I want honesty, like when I'm cooking. If somebody's, placating me and they're just like, oh yeah, that's great, and then, they turn around and they tell everybody else, like, what's the worst thing I ever ate? It's like, oh, I asked you. Alright. Let's taste one last time. That tastes right. Okay, now what we're going to do, okay, there's the kick. Definitely get that taste now. The Sriracha is coming through very nicely. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to take this and spoon it into the eggs. So we'll get a pad. And I'll show you. So let's see. I'll move it to where you all can see it. Put the camera down. Move the paper towel out of the way. Okay. So we're just going to take this mixture We're going to add a little bit into each one, just till it's filled. Now a piping bag would be nice only because it would come out looking so much prettier. And this isn't bad, but it's not the prettiest thing ever. Now we're going to start small, just to make sure each one is filled. And there's going to be more mass to it only because we added a lot more stuff. I mean, we added yogurt. We added a bunch of other things. Actually, it looks like they're filling nicely. Now, I'll admit the color on these isn't the greatest, but that's why at the very end, let's see, who needs more? You need a little bit more. You could fill out a little. You could fill out a little. You could fill out a little. And I can take some for myself. Yum. But then what we do is, and I'll show you in a sec, is take the paprika, let's see, and we just sprinkle some on, and that'll actually make the flavor pop, but it will also make it a lot prettier. Alright, that is pretty. So let me show you what we got. We got ourselves eggs Benedict, deviled eggs. Whoa, they're sliding around. Let me get the camera down here. Eggs, deviled eggs, a la DJ. Alright. And it took less than half an hour, so I look forward to it. I hope that you make this and show me some pictures, and I'll see you all later. I'm hungry now. I think I'm going to eat some before the game comes on. Alright, bye everybody.